All right, we're doing it.
We're doing it? Are we live? Is this live?
Are we live?
We're somewhat live. I mean, live is really, it's a state of being that's temporary, and I don't know where to go from there, really.
Well, it's a Saturday, right?
It is a Saturday.
We're off our
It's a
game.
Saturday.
But this is our new scheduled time for the SideQuest podcast. And unfortunately, right off the rip, two of our hosts are not able to be here, right? So we would have Holtzman and Tefty here to join us, but unfortunately wasn't possible.
But don't worry. It's going to be worth waiting for tomorrow. Not tomorrow, for next week for Patrick, because we're going to have a really interesting video to play
A little
before
special
he
something.
comes back. It's going to be a little special something. So it's going to be good. It's worth it.
I'm going to go ahead and say the viewers today actually got lucky. I mean, they just got like the best of. This is like a best of episode right here.
This
Yes.
is
No, nobody's buying it.
yeah, I mean, like it's an important show because we're coming off of Guardian Con, where we are all celebrating us as a community. And then, I feel like I got to throw this out there right now. Our guest today is I Drop Bodies, who is a competitive, who was and still plays Destiny, but he's a competitive player that we know from the Destiny community. And from, it was great to meet up with a bunch of the competitive people at Guardian Con and go, celebrate, kind of lament the fact that Destiny's, the PvP side of things sort of tanked a little bit, and all these competitive players, when it spread out and they started playing other games, a lot of them ended up in Fortnite. And Bodies, thanks very much for joining us on the show today.
No problem.
And first of all, congratulations, man. I've been meaning to ask you, can I get a loan or something? Like
I got this really interesting business investment that I'd like to talk to you about.
Yeah, let's talk about has it sunken in yet that you won a just crap ton of money?
Life-changing. It's crazy.
Not at all.
Not yet?
I'm assessing it. Nope. Not
It's
at all.
not even been a day.
I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to tell my mom.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, this thing that, like, I used to spend a lot of time doing, and you yelled at me because I wasn't cleaning my room.
Who's laughing now, Mom?
So congratulations, man. You did the summer, you won the second week of the Fortnite Summer Skirmish series. And that's no small feat. There are some really big names in that. Can you explain to us what the skirmish is and how you got around to, getting an invite, and just educate us about what the Summer Skirmish is?
Okay, so pretty much Fortnite announced they're doing $8 million in prizes in 8 weeks. They're calling it the Summer Skirmish. Obviously, they're gonna invite all the big names, but I'm by no means a big name in Fortnite. But the way I got in is because they did a playlist called the Solo Showdown, Blitz Solo Showdown. The Blitz game mode is just a normal game, but just faster, get more materials or whatever. So I played that, but I didn't know that they would invite people to Summer Skirmish from this event. This hadn't even been announced at the time I was playing this. I was playing the Blitz Showdown for V-Bucks. That was the prize for it. You get and I ended up seeing number 2 or 3. I can't remember correctly, but I got 13,500 V-Bucks, and that's the only reason why I was playing it. But then I received a DM from a esports director at Epic, and he told me to check my email, and I was lucky enough to get an invite due to my placing in that event.
Yeah, and it's based off a solo. That event was a solo playlist, no?
Yes. So that event was you play 25 matches, and anybody could play in this event. This wasn't like an invite only kind of thing. So you play 25 matches. They tally up your kills and your placements, and there's a point system with it.
Yeah. Well, I actually feel like I need to take a step back because we already started jumping into the Fortnite conversation, but I just want to talk about like where your roots are from gaming, because a lot of people are just hearing about you for the first time, but those of us in the Destiny community know you well. When did you get into, what game was your first game that you started playing competitively?
My first game I started playing, quote unquote, competitively is Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So just came up just like anybody else is playing Call of Duty public matches.
Yeah.
Just yeah, and then I got into Destiny. I met a couple people, and then found out there was like a little competitive scene in Destiny, and I just went along with it.
What team were you? What team? Who were some of your teammates? What team were you on?
So my first team was actually a team called I played with just normal friends. We called ourselves Sky's the Limit. So those were
Yeah.
the like people I played with. And then I met one of my like best friends I ever met online. His name is Electro. He actually introduced me into like that there was a sweat scene in Destiny where we match up and we play against other people we know.
Yeah.
Um, so with that, I met another team called It Had to Be Us, and I ended up joining them. After that, I joined Invigorate, and then after Invigorate, I joined a team called Remember,
Mm-hmm.
and after Remember, it was
So you've been playing with a bunch of different teams, man.
yeah, pretty much. And then that's when I like eventually I got into BSK.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So the
after,
Bomb Squad Kittens is one of the bigger names in the Destiny community, and it's kind of feels like when you saw a competitive game happening, um, you guys were up on the top. And did you feel like what is it that attracted you to like competitive gaming or finding a team and doing those sweat matches?
I don't know. Truthfully, it was just so fun to me, like playing with friends, seeing improvement in our like chemistry and stuff. I had never like played competitive games before either. So
Yeah.
like me getting this feeling, you're my teammate, we're playing together, we're playing against other teams, playing in tournaments and things like that. That really fueled me, motivated me to continue and playing Destiny.
So everyone, I'm kind of interested in your transition to Fortnite. Did you go and you jump like some of the Destiny players? Because a lot of players that were playing competitive Destiny were on PlayStation and using using a controller. Did you? But then when Destiny came out on PC, a lot of them switched over for those benefits and then went that way. Did you choose to go that direction for a PC, or did you decide to stay with a controller?
I decided to stay with the controller.
Yeah, and then you went into Fortnite doing the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Like okay, so I'm not a competitive player. I suck, and I'm I play a Fortnite for fun and on a controller. I have a Scuf controller that helps me a lot.
A little
What are
brand
some
in
of the,
there.
what
Slide
are
that
some
in
of
there.
the advantages, disadvantages of using a controller? Do you use a Scuf controller? Do you use a regular PlayStation controller? How do you cover that gap? Because I feel like a lot of PC players say that there is just using a controller is a huge disadvantage, but then I see players like Nick Merckx and yourself doing really well with one. How do you cover that gap?
So pretty much a scuff allows you to a lot of modern day games allows you to have like modern kind of movement like in games nowadays. For example, even Destiny, you had
Mm-hmm.
the different types of jumps, different types of like Titan skating, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, you want to be able to jump a lot as you're building, as you're like in your shotgun fights. So yeah, Scuff and yeah, Scuff helps with that a lot. Able to like put yourself at an advantage because you can like keep your analog stick, your thumb on your analog stick as you're able to jump. Because normally you would either have to play claw or you would have to remove your thumbs from your thumbstick and
Mm-hmm.
press X. And that can leave you to like inconsistent like aiming, should I say.
So bodies, this for the people who kind of don't know what's going on. like, can we just explain like what happened and kind of like why you're like at the center of conversation right now? Because yesterday you won like a mega tournament in Fortnite, right? And
Yes.
you won it using a controller.
Yes.
Let me make sure I got this right. It was a PS4 controller on an
Yep.
Xbox.
No,
And
that speculation was that was 2 years ago when I was trying to play Xbox tournaments in Destiny.
uh-huh.
But I use a PS4 a Cinch Gaming PS4 controller on PS4.
Oh, okay. So I got that wrong. So you were on a PS4 playing with a
Yes.
PS4 controller. Okay.
Yes.
And then there was controversy after you won. People suspected that you're using like a Zim device. No
Yeah.
good
He was
human
saying
being
that was
would ever
just
use a Zim device. I don't know why anybody would ever think.
yeah.
I use one all the time.
He uses one all the time.
So after you won it, people were thinking that you used like a mouse and keyboard hooked up with a Zim device to your PS4, but that's not
Yeah.
true.
Nope.
Okay.
So since I wasn't able to broadcast my gameplay because I don't own a PC, so I'm physically, if I would have streamed without it was against the rules to stream without a delay, and I'm not partnered, so I can't do it through Twitch.
Yeah.
So if I would have streamed, if I would have just said, you know what, people would just, I'm just gonna stream and prove everyone wrong, I would have gotten forfeited from the
Disqualified, yeah.
tournament because it is against the rules. But on the other hand, now that I'm not streaming, is just so much like suspicion. Oh, I'm cheating. I have people giving me free kills. I'm using a keyboard.
I heard a little bit about that. Like the logistics of having that happen, and it just seems mind-boggling. Like Epic came out today and wrote a response to all these, suspicions. All these there's some really crazy.
It's been ridiculous.
I mean, like I read them and I was like,
literal death threats.
really?
Like
That's
literal.
so ridiculous, man. Like it started with one thing being like, oh, you're using keyboard and mouse, and it's like, oh, you have people feeding you kills. Oh, it's different accounts. It's the same people. It's just been one thing after another instead of people just being like, okay, leave it to Epic. They'll figure it out. GG's, man. Like I don't know why it's so hard to do that.
Yeah.
So Epic came out and talked about this publicly? What did they say?
Yes.
They pretty much said that they looked at everything. They said everybody I killed was a different account, all made 2+ years ago. Only 10 people which I killed were made after even the blitz, after even the showdown was even announced. So that's before the tournament, even regardless. So they were pretty much saying everybody I killed was legitimate. And then there was another thing saying that I had somebody play for me. That's why I didn't stream. They checked my IP through my Epic. So that's out the question because obviously if the IP is consistent and it's not in different locations, then it has to be the same person playing. Then there was a keyboard and mouse allegation, but they just put everything to rest.
Can I ask you a couple of questions? I'm not familiar with Fortnite, but aren't you allowed to play with a keyboard and mouse in Fortnite on PS4?
Yeah, that's another thing. You're allowed to. That's the crazy part about it. But even then, I still didn't use it. But you're still allowed to.
Yeah, it's like you were being attacked on several different fronts. One was this concept of that you're outright cheating and should be banned.
Yeah.
And then there was this other front of like, well, maybe you won and technically it was allowed, but it's still like lowbrow, like you're like being shamed for using a keyboard and mouse on a controller on a console, but none of it was true. And it seems like a lot of people in the Destiny community that know you and stood up and for you and just kind of said, this is bullshit. We know this guy. Yep. And we know you as a great player, a very talented player. And it was really great to see Wish and Sir Demetrius stepping up and calling bullshit on these people.
Mm-hmm. That's why we love this community, man.
Dude, everyone knows bodies from the D1. Like, I don't think there's anyone who played D1 extensively who doesn't know bodies. So all of us know how amazing of a player you are. So all of us were more than willing to be like, dude, what are you talking about? This dude is amazing on a controller. It does not surprise me that you're also amazing in Fortnite.
Thank you.
So this tournament was set up. This tournament was set up with like you had to complete a certain amount of matches in a set amount of time, right?
Yes.
What was your strategy going in? Tell us about some of like you didn't play them all back to back, right?
No, I took a couple of in between breaks.
And you know, what was your strategy for winning? Like what did you go into that you thought would be it, or did you just play?
So pretty much, I just thought, all right. So the scoring system in the tournament was 1 kill is 1 point and a win is 5 points.
Yeah.
So obviously you want to get a lot of kills and win. So I was going to the first match honestly very nervous. I landed. I got a very bad landing. Got a very bad weapon off the beginning. So I got lucky enough to kill someone, and he had very good loot. And the reason why I was able to play so well is because that very first game I got 20 kills, and if you got 20 kills, you get a $10,000 bonus off the beginning. Just like
Wow.
That's
like
crazy.
10,000 just off of getting 20 kills in one game, which
Dude,
is
that's
very
got-
hard to do.
Wait,
So
that's
wait,
gotta-
real money,
that's gotta
not like
take, like-
V-Bucks or something?
no, yeah, real money.
What?
Dude, bodies. That's like got to take a huge monkey off your back. Like already,
Yeah,
first
it did,
game,
trust
you're
me.
already in the money, dude. You can just ride it. You've already won, right?
Yep.
Dude, that's awesome.
I literally jumped out my seat, screamed, uh, told my dad. He got happy for me, and then after that, game two, I dropped 24 kills the second game,
Damn,
and that
bro.
was only because like of all the weight lifted on my shoulders. Cause I'm just thinking after the first game, I'm just like, all right, I already won $10,000. I'm happy with this, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ride the wave pretty much.
Yeah. And did you was there any like place in particular that you were landing, or did you have
I
a
was
strategy?
landing pretty much the bus. They go in obviously it goes in a different direction of the map. So pretty much if it comes from the left to the right, I call it a tilted bus. So most players are gonna land tilted towers.
Yeah.
So I just did in the most populated area to try to rack up as many kills as I can.
Yeah.
There's a new place that came out with season 5. It's called Paradise Palms. That's another very populated area. So if the bus came in that direction, I went there and I landed Retail Row. Those are the only 3 places I landed throughout the whole tournament.
That's awesome. And like you racked up a bunch of kills. And are those is that a typical, like, how do you play Fortnite? Are those was that in a typical way, a typical amount of kills that you would get when you played solo, or or were you just playing out of your mind?
Yeah, I was just playing crazy. So like it is very hard. Like that's why this $10,000 bonus is a thing about getting 20 kills, because it is very hard to let alone find 20 people in solos. You know,
Yeah.
like cause the difference between solos and duos and squads is that when you see someone, you only see one person.
Yeah.
Whereas in
Right.
squads, you're seeing four people, and in duos, you're seeing 2 people. So it's easier to get multiple kills. So if you're playing solos, you're only seeing one person, so it's very hard to, because if you're playing squads, you're probably going to see like 5 or 6 squads throughout the whole game, So it's
Mhm.
like it's very different, and that's why they have that bonus, because 10,000 10,000 for 20 kills is like crazy.
So you felt that you were in the zone, and you jumped into these other matches knowing that you're already in the money and you could risk whatever.
Yeah, and then there was another bonus. If you get the most kills out of everybody in the tournament, you get $50,000. So when I came into the second game and got 24 kills, I was very confident nobody would match that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So how many kills did you end up in total?
In total, I think Epic said 129.
Yeah.
Then there's a bonus, a 10-point bonus. So I was like throughout the whole tournament, I got 184 points. So you get a bonus for 20 kills. So since I dropped 20 kills 2 times, I got 2 10-point bonuses and 2 $10,000 tournament bonuses. So that put me in the lead by a lot.
So it's important for them to note that the Epic created and we'll link it to it. They created a Reddit post where they went through every one of the, conspiracy theories that people put out about you and matched them and talked about them and went through them. One of the things that they said was that the way that you played, that they went in and checked the players that you played against, and none of the accounts of the people that you killed, the 129 eliminations, were created between the time he was informed of the participation and the event itself. It's a lot of these details that I feel like there was a lot of like this, they didn't know about you, so it was kind of fueled by some skepticism from some very big names in the community, like in the Fortnite community. They didn't know who you were, and they started to just speculate. And I feel like a lot of these things are, it's the burden of proof has been on you, and I just think that is. I mean, it's
pretty cool
really
that Fortnite stepped up and hey, we looked into this. It's legit. That's cool.
And they went through crazy detail to just drop down information and say, look, what you guys are saying is just wrong. And I'm so proud of you, man. Like I just wish that Destiny competitive had like blown up, because I would have loved to have seen you and Sir D and Lumi and Triple and all these guys that we knew were phenomenal PvP players continuing to stay in this game. But to see your talents going somewhere else and making some money out of it, I think it's freaking awesome.
It's amazing.
Thank
you. So what's next for iDrop Bodies? You've got what do you got on the horizon?
So obviously looking to invest into a better setup with the money I'm receiving. So I'm gonna stream. I'm gonna stream a lot more now due to the opportunity. I was able to make a name for myself. So now I'm gonna consistently stream, most likely, and see where it goes from there.
Well, you got a good opportunity to attract a pretty big audience, like right off the bat, being the center of attention like you are right now. But whether it's good attention or bad attention, it'll draw eyeballs. That's for sure.
I hear that.
Yeah. So you're gonna we may know a computer company that would make a kick-ass computer for you to play with.
Oh yeah.
We'll get you connected with them. Seeing you put these guys to quiet them down would be a pleasure of mine. So I know you got to bounce. You got a lot of family obligations. You got a lot of lists of things to. I sent you a long list of things that I wanted you to buy me. So I know you got to. I know you got to go through there. I already went ahead and put the Amazon links for you. All right. So all you got to do is just click on it. It's already all set up. So I really appreciate you, hooking me up like that. It's been a pleasure having you on. I really appreciate it, Bodies. I know there's a ton of people. There's a ton of people in the Destiny community who are supporting you, and I know that this wave of negativity that hit you has got to be hard. But I hope you feel the love from all of us here, and want you to know that we know who you are.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Everyone in D1 is super proud of you, man. We're all super proud.
Thank you.
Oh, Lumi just said that you're buying me a car. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. I didn't know. These are the kind of things. This is the kind of person Bodies is, Watts. He's just this giving
Great
kind of guy. Yeah.
Very, very
Well,
strong.
good luck with future events. Hopefully I know there's a lot of nepotism, or not nepotism, but there's a lot of like weird, it seems like the same names are invited to these tournaments, like the Friday Fortnite and all that stuff. And not necessarily the top talented players. It wasn't until Sir D joined 100 Thieves that he started getting invited to things, I believe. It's hard for a player to break into these tournaments and make a name for themselves. And hopefully after this win, you'll be getting invitations on your own merit. And we look forward to seeing you continue.
Thank you.
Win a
I really,
bunch of tournaments, man.
thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me again.
Bodies, thanks for
Oh,
coming
of
on, man.
course. Thank you so
Absolutely,
much for coming
buddies.
on.
Thank
Take
you.
it easy,
Goodbye.
man.
You know, when things like this happen, not just in like the gaming community, but like whenever like bad things happen and like the worst of kind of people's personalities is exposed in like in weird and awful ways, the response by like the positive people is always so heartwarming, right? It's like
Oh yeah.
when something really bad goes down, what like something really bad goes down, and then you hear about the heroes that ran toward the action as opposed from the cowards who ran away from it. And even in a situation like this where you have like really big names just making a big stink and saying some really nasty stuff, to hear like the Destiny community and the people that knew bodies like stepping up to the plate and say no, that's not how it is. It's pretty cool.
No, it's awesome. The Destiny community are all really supportive of one another, and we just made this really tight knit community. So when one of our own, when you feel like one of our own's being attacked, everyone's like, "Hey, no, wait, stop doing that." Even if we're not playing the same game, we definitely still feel like we're a part of the same community.
Yeah, that's
It's pretty-
true
it's
about the
pretty great.
Destiny community, isn't it? Is it really? Even though a lot of people have moved on to other games and don't play as much Destiny anymore, the relationships are still there, and that's pretty dope.
Absolutely. Hope you're muted.
Sorry. It's something that I definitely wanted to highlight and bring. I'm really appreciative that Body's, I know he's busy right now and he's got a lot of things going on, but I wanted to him to hear from us, from our community, that, that we got his back, and know that he's the type of player that could do this, right?
Mm-hmm. Just let the cars reign free, Pope Bear. Let
sorry.
the bike gangs invade.
I live on a corner that has that demonstrates how moronic people are and how they drive so poorly. It's absolutely.
Did I tell you I
insane.
got a new exhaust system for my Civic, man? It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Does it
yeah.
make
It sounds
lots
like
of
a
noise?
rocket ship. It's amazing. Like imagine like a 3,000 horsepower lawnmower. That's basically what we're talking about here. That's the sound we're talking about. Have you ever heard of a leaf blower? Have you ever heard of 8 leaf blowers?
Oh,
That's actually
please,
what's running
no.
your car, isn't it? Like you
It's just
strap
8
them
leaf
all together.
blowers strapped to the wheels.
Well, there's a lot of to the credit of a lot of the people who said, who were somewhat negative or called out yesterday after Epic released this. A lot of them turned around and said, "I'm glad this was settled," and congratulations, right? It's just sometimes I feel like the harm's already been done.
Oh, yeah. Like you've
And the
already
ball-
shown your true colors at that point, right?
The ball's already rolling, and the damage has already been done. And there's all these internet keyboard warriors out there, that are just gonna believe what they believe about Bodies and keep spreading shit about him, and that's unfortunate. But hopefully he can weather this, and I know he'll weather this and come out stronger because of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In the meantime, I'm going to continue to use him on PlayStation 4, Destiny 2.
Of course.
I am
Oh,
going to
man.
continue to cheat my ass off as much as possible.
And there's people out there that are making some very good points about the structure of the Fortnite tournament and how they could be more, balanced. But under the current rules, something pitting PC players and console players in the same brackets or for the same wins, everybody's going to have their opinions as to which one's easier or not, or which one has more noobs and which one doesn't. And this kind of argument's going to go, I don't subscribe to one view or another. The only way that it's going to silence it is if they have different brackets. But Epic doesn't want to do that. It's their game, it's their money, and it's their rules. So if you got a problem with it, don't watch the tournament then. Otherwise, they've put up the money, they've set the rules, and players are playing by them. So, that's just how I feel about that. If it's like, he played by the rules and he won the game, that maybe more PC players decide to play console. I don't know what the answer is. All I know is that he kicked ass, won a lot of money, and I'm proud of him.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder what the actual. Somebody in chat said that Epic actually talked about that in their post and said the stats suggest the lobbies are fair. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder, like, we've heard for so long that mouse and keyboard is absolutely familiar or absolutely the best way to play a shooter. But then, over the last couple of years, like in the Destiny community, we've seen like people get really upset about people using controllers on the
Oh my
PC,
gosh.
right?
I
Because there's
think
aim
what we
assist.
learn is that people can't be happy for someone being good at something.
I think
They're
you
like,
could have
"No,
cut that
because
off
of
with the
this."
first half of that sentence. People can't be happy.
So they in the Reddit post, Epic says in previous showdowns, which followed a similar scoring format on public servers, there has been no discernible difference in final score between top performers on PC and console platforms. During this event, we saw 11 matches break the 20 elimination mark, with 8 of them on PC and 3 of them on console.
So now that makes me start wondering again. Obviously, there's no hope of this happening for Destiny. I've really like to see at least cross save, but I'd also really like to see cross play. Right? Is like allow the PC and console, and both consoles too, communities to come together and play together. If you absolutely don't want to do it for PvP, then at least for PvE. And if you can't do it for Sony because of some kind of marketing deal or whatever, or because they won't allow it, then get the Xbox and the PC community together. Like I would buy a copy of Destiny 2 on Xbox tomorrow if it meant that I could play, my same characters on the Xbox without having to grind through altogether. But I'd be even happier if I could just stay on my PC and play with people who are playing on the Xbox and who are playing on PlayStation. And Fortnite is a great example where they are allowing like kind of this cross play, and it's going really well. In fact, when they first launched it, you could play PlayStation 4 versus Xbox, and it wasn't until Sony threw a fit that they had to end that.
Yeah.
It goes back to the point where it's like, here's a guy, here's a kid. He's trying to break into this, and he's showing up, and he's playing a tournament well, and I feel like there's some responsibility, and then he gets this crap, right? I feel there's some responsibility among the developers to create that uniformed. This is another reason. I'm sorry. My point is this is another reason why we need to have that kind of cross-platform play and kind of make us all, equal, right?
Well, Pope, as like you main PS4, you have a
Yeah.
PC, but you choose to main PS4 because that's where you play with your kid and you have a lot of friends on PS4, and you've chosen that 30 FPS lifestyle. How would that make you feel to know that there were people in your lobby playing on PC or Xbox?
So it really just depends on the game in particular. When I play PS4 and I play with friends, because you can do cross-play on Fortnite, and I play with people on PC in their lobbies, I can definitely tell the difference in their ability to build faster than me, and I feel outplayed in that way. So it definitely is more difficult for me. I see why separating the lobbies is important in that way. There's a high skill gap. I'm sure I could get better at it using my mapping my Scuf and getting better at playing that way.
Specifically with Destiny, though.
But with Destiny, I think it's awesome because I'm more of a PvE player, and I think a lot of people who play Destiny are PvE. There's a PvP community, but by far the majority is PvE, and I really want to play with friends from all over. I don't really care if they see it in 60, 120, 5,000. I don't give a shit. I just want to play with my friends, and if they're seeing a different screen than I am,
I'm just dreaming of a 5,000 hertz monitor. How much is that going to cost me?
I don't know, man. All I know is that we're all gamers. We're all I have friends that play main PC, Xbox. We're all the same community, and this division really sucks. The separating us in this way, and I think that as a gaming community as a whole, the industry would be stronger if they allowed these cross-platform plays.
Yeah,
And
you
under
know,
certain
It should totally be a thing. PvE
Yeah.
crossplay would be awesome. You could go raid with whoever. You wouldn't, especially with something like raiding, right? Where you don't have cross save and you have to level up your character where light really matters. It would be great to just be able to play with your friends in a raid and you have all your gear, you're fully leveled. That would be awesome.
that would be good. Like, yeah, I don't really want to have 9 characters. I don't feel the draw
No,
to
it sucks.
even during Destiny 1. Like, I tried to maintain an Xbox account. It just always fell
It's
behind. So,
hard.
like, if I want to do anything, well, I gotta grind like 30 levels of light before I can even really do a raid with you guys.
Yeah, it's really difficult, especially now that it seems like Bungie's going in a way of making things more grindy with
Mhm.
Forsaken. It's going to be hard for people to maintain stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It really does. I know we're not supposed to talk about Destiny on this podcast, but you know, even Nintendo though is opened up to crossplay. You know, which is incredible, right? It's like Nintendo's been the most locked down. They're like the Apple of the video game industry, right? Is they have these walled gardens and just want to lock down everything. Hell, you got to share your social security number with somebody to make them on your friends list. It's ridiculous.
I think, and the sad thing is, it definitely comes down to money. Microtransactions is what I feel like really is what's holding us having crossplay and for real. It's just you PlayStation doesn't want to honor the skin or whatever emote they sold to you on Xbox, right? They want you to spend that money on PlayStation. And I think that once microtransactions, I mean, in-game, I don't think it's going to do away because there's still in-game purchases and all that stuff. But I think if microtransactions themselves or loot boxes become illegal, which many people think they will become, we'll start seeing us getting closer to allowing at least cross save.
Yeah, it's mostly what's really getting targeted is the random loot boxes, right? It's like the gambling aspect of it, where you put money in, but you're not necessarily guaranteed an item that you want. Where you're really just you're putting money into a slot machine and hoping you get the item you want.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and the fear is that it builds a behavior pattern for children. You know, which I don't know if it's true or not, but it's certainly an understandable way of thinking.
Well, children and adults too. I just don't think that gaming should be the place where that kind of gambling takes place, right? It's just it's just not the right appropriate place for it. I think that I also feel like it's when a developer makes content, they start thinking about the customer in that way, it changes the dynamic. I feel I feel like it changes the dynamic into being less about making games that people love, more into making games that people will pay money, just pay money for, like that. They become. I guess gaming companies always look at us as consumers to sell to,
for sure.
But I feel like it changes the dynamic. Instead of just saying, "Hey, people want to buy a game because it's compelling, it's got a great story, it's got great visuals." Now they're designing games like, well, what can we sell them afterwards?
Well, if you look at the direction the whole industry is moving in, right, and we're at the forefront of this, being Destiny players, is that the big publishers, Activision, EA, Ubisoft, these guys want to make games as a service games that continue to make money through microtransactions, right?
Yeah.
You still have, like the Sony of the world that's willing to dump a lot of money into like a game like God of War, even though it's going to be a one-time sale and, it's done because that sells the platform. But a game like a game made by Activision and EA and Ubisoft, they don't have that interest. They don't have that. They are about the bottom line. They are about, pleasing their investors. So they want to make as much money with as little effort as possible, or as little investment as possible. So a game as a service like Destiny is very attractive because
Right.
you put this game out, you put in these long-term goals, and then you constantly have these big flashing arrows pointing toward the microtransactions, and it's proven to be a very good way. The mobile market is, look no further, right? It's like a lot of these ideas are coming from the mobile market where they'll give you the game for free, but they're going to just constantly be like pointing you in the direction of their store. You buy, you know, whatever currency that you need to buy. Fortnite is doing this. You know, Fortnite's a perfect example of this. Is they give you the game for free, and then they're just blinking arrows like, come spend your money over here to get these awesome skins and these cool new, you know, whatevers. And it's a scary thing for me because I see less games that are, you know, these like, you know, kind of single player experience. Like a game like Hellblade, does that game get made in 5 years, 10 years? When everybody's just wants to make the next game as a platform service.
And that would make me real sad. I think I read an article on Twitter about this where someone was having a similar conversation of, are we going to see a decline in these single player games where they're just made to give you a single player experience?
I think we already have Watts.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
The games that come out, like, I don't see like 10 years ago, I feel like I saw like, you know, just these like big single player games coming out all the time. And now it's like the big games on the horizon right now are like Anthem, Division 2, Destiny 2.
That's right.
You know, like they're all like kind of just wrapped up like these huge things, right? And like a game that just came out, well, I guess that was last year now, was that everybody was really looking forward to, Mass Effect Andromeda. You know, EA dropped that like a hot potato. You know, like that got bad reviews. You know, in a world where Ubisoft continues to support games for years, even if they get bad reviews, it was kind of shocking to see EA drop that. But when you look at it, that game was not nearly a game as a platform like what Ubisoft is working at. Ubisoft has got Rainbow Six. That's definitely a game as a service where you buy new characters to play as. They've got, what's the one with the Vikings versus the Knights versus the
For Honor.
For Honor. You know, again, it's a game as a service. You know, so Ubisoft has a lot of motivation to keep these games active. They put the initial development time into it, and maybe it went over well, maybe it didn't. But Ubisoft even made For Honor. You know, they changed the whole network infrastructure to make it a server-based infrastructure because they know that they want to be selling those microtransactions in that game.
It's very interesting.
It's going to be surprising to see. The European market looks like they're on the cusp of making microtransactions, or at least loot boxes, illegal, right?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if the U.S. follows suit. Several states are already starting the process, and see if it goes on the federal level, how that's going to affect the video game industry. Where do you think, like Watts, where do you think they could go? Or Brian, I mean, like, what are their options? I mean, like, where do they go? Do games get more expensive?
Well, we've seen, even if you look at Destiny right now, you go to Eververse, there are some engram type loot box things that you can get, but they've been steadily increasing their bundles that they offer you, where you see exactly what you're going to get and you pay for the item that you want. So I mean, that's Fortnite does that as well, right? They sell you the thing that you want, you pay for the thing that you want, and you get the thing that you want. So it's very easy for them to just keep making money with microtransactions with just purchasing the thing that you want. You make something really cool looking, people will buy it.
Watts, did you buy the Whisper of the Worm?
I did not, Pope. Did you?
Maybe. I sure as hell did. You know, I have no problem with them selling things like that. I don't have a problem with microtransactions per se.
Yeah, I've got a huge problem with it, Pope, in a game that I am desperate for more loot. The fact that so much of it is locked behind just giving them more money.
I think that argument's getting older and older now because they're putting out more and more stuff.
All right, like, what's the motivation for doing trials right now? What's the motivation for doing the raid right now?
Well, we're at a interest. We're not talking about Destiny here, first of all, but we are.
I mean, you brought it up with the But
No, I mean it's at a point where we're in between the game seeing its final form, right? It's transitioning, and so I think right now your argument holds water, but I'm hoping that in Forsaken that it won't have that same validity, but that same strength of the argument. But I like to be able to buy something that I want, and but I agree with you. There should be enough content in the game that it doesn't feel like we're starving for it. That's the difference.
Right.
But I have a serious problem with microtrans or loot boxes. But if a content creator wants to make something, and especially with a game that has a lifespan like Destiny, not like something like that is a one-off game that isn't like a living game that they have updates that keep going. They have to pay for that content to be made, and microtransactions are a way of doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
we've
think they.
we've had
I don't think,
DLCs in the past. You know,
Yeah.
like if you went in, if you were a big Call of Duty player, then 3 or 4 times a year they'd release a DLC pack. And how much were those? What, $15-$20?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And with that, you'd get a bunch of stuff, right? You'd get new
Yeah.
levels. Sometimes later in the cycle, it became new weapons as well. But I mean, the cost of developing all that compared to the cost of developing, a skin and charging $15 or $20 for that. I mean, that's a big difference. It's attractive for the video game companies. You can't deny.
Without a doubt. And I don't think a game like Destiny is funded off of a $60 purchase. I just don't. I think there's inherently a problem with the video game industry that either they need to start charging more for games if they're going to stop, or they're going to have to find some way. There's got to be some market research that says people won't pay more for games, and so they have.
Which
to
is
find
weird
another
because
way
in
for
the
paying
late
for it.
'90s, I was paying $80-$90 for a Genesis cartridge.
Really?
Yeah, I remember. I think it was
Wow.
Phantasy Star 3. It might have been Phantasy Star 3. It might have been Phantasy Star 4. I believe that was $80. It might have been $90. I think
That's like
Strider for the
$2,000
Genesis.
That's a lot of money.
I think Strider for the Genesis. It was the first 8 megabyte cartridge. Megabyte.
Megabyte.
I think that was more too. I think that was $80 or $90. I mean, but
Yeah.
that was because the actual cost of manufacturing the cartridge was more.
Right.
Now the cost is, if the cost is the development of the resources, then I mean, I don't have a problem with them charging more money. I'd rather buy, a $100 game and feel like I got a complete product than a $60 game that's constantly asking me for more money, because that's ruining my enjoyment somewhat. Is that it's like having a buddy who's just constantly asking you for money or something. It's like you don't
Hey,
want to
got
hang
some
out with
gas
that guy,
money? Hey, Barry, you got gas money?
right? Yeah, it's a weird thing. I mean, if they need the money to keep developing the game, then I think they're gonna have to figure out a new way.
I agree. I feel like this is a growth problem that they're going to have to figure out. AAA games, either we're going to start seeing less or fewer AAA games.
Like we already are. We're already seeing less AAA games. I mean, half of the games that I play now are like these indie developed games. We just went down to Guardian Con, and the game I was playing on the flight down was Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
That's a really good game.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game, and it's on
There
the
are
Switch now.
So many games that come out that are not AAA games that are amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's I don't see us having a solution in the next in the next 5 to 10 years. I think they're going to have to come up with one. We're seeing evidence that we're moving towards that with like the missteps of EA and how that blew up in their face, and somewhat how it's blown up in Destiny's face. And you see games delaying and reworking. There's no small doubt in my mind that Anthem is delayed to rework the investment system.
Well, the fact that we've heard nothing about it is concerning.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone comes in and they're like, what do you think of Anthem? And I'm like, well, the biggest thing that's going to be good for me with that game is the investment system. Like, that is going to be the thing that keeps me playing that game. and I haven't seen a word about it really yet.
Yeah. I mean, was it 1 year ago or 2 years ago that they showed it off first, and they showed that you got like a Destiny style legendary weapon in the trailer, and that's like
Yeah,
the
I
last
remember
time
that.
we've seen anything about it.
Yeah.
Those devs, I think, are fairly active on Reddit, and I haven't been paying attention, so maybe they're talking about it now, but I haven't heard
They
anything.
might be. I mean, I hope it goes amazingly for them. I know they have a lot riding on that game, and I hope it goes really well. But yeah, I need like some Monster Hunter World style investment, because it's not like it's the similar kind of thing as Monster Hunter World, where it's like you have your own story and you progress in your own world, but you can also kind of play with friends. So I need to be out there wanting to grind and
You were
really
the first
feeling
one I
invested.
heard make that comparison. It felt really good when you made it.
I feel like it's pretty similar.
Yeah. I didn't I was expecting Destiny, third person Destiny, until you made the comparison to
Right.
Monster Hunter. I was like, oh shit. I think Watts is right. I
Yeah,
think this is another Monster Hunter.
You got your own like hub. You don't share the hub with other people. You have your own story going on there. So it definitely feels more like I'm going on a hunt with my buddies. Let's bring them, rather than a persistent living world with other players.
I would be pretty excited if the investment system was like Monster Hunter.
Oh my gosh. If it is, then I will invest a lot of time in it. As long as the shooting feels good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, you saw the E3, right? You guys saw the E3 kind of their, I don't even know, developer panel?
Yes.
And it looked terrible.
Yeah.
They were using
and then,
I think it's called the Goliath. It's like the biggest one. And it was just hulking around and just
the big slow one.
Yeah.
And I think they had there's a lot of people that stepped up afterwards and had to clarify that like
it doesn't feel
felt
that bad.
better than it looked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
a lot
an
of people said
unfortunate
that.
thing to have to say after your E3 press conference,
Isn't it? Yeah, it's interesting. It feels like the I'm really excited to see how Fortnite fares. It's going to be the first. I think it's going to be a AAA game that was in development, and we're gonna that had to adjust to all this, and to see how they come out the gate is going to tell us a lot about how developers are tackling the problem, and at least they're going to be testing to see if this is something that works, because Anthem has to have cost an absolute boatload of money to make.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a completely different type of game too, right? Like Fortnite is, it's a battle royale. Anthem is like this huge world that's been built out, and you're gonna play with friends, but there's no PvP at all.
Right.
It's really just about it's good. I think it's gonna be a lot like Watt says. I think it's gonna be a lot like Monster Hunter.
Yeah. I think it feels like it's a similar formula.
Yeah, it really does.
But the reason Monster Hunter World and just Monster Hunters in general are so amazing is because that gameplay loop just keeps you addicted and makes you want to keep grinding. So they really have to nail the investment.
Are you gonna play Monster Hunter World on PC when it comes out, Watson?
I think I will.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's
you're
coming
gonna
out
start
soon,
over?
right? Is it August or September?
It's August, right? I think it's August. Because I think because they released the date, and I was like, oh, I get to play this for like a month before
Destiny comes out.
Before Forsaken comes out. Yeah, so I think that'll be a good kind of like a good month of just doing that all over again. Might be kind of fun.
Do you know? Are you gonna be able to import your PlayStation character, or is it gonna start?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I would imagine.
No, start over.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be starting over.
How many hours do you think you got in on Monster Hunter now?
Oh boy.
Do you still play it as much?
So I haven't played it in a little bit. They have the summer festival that's going on, and they're also doing a crossover with Final Fantasy. So they're bringing in a new monster for that. So I definitely want to jump in soon and check that out, because that looks pretty cool.
They're resetting all the events that happen too, so it's going to start from scratch in the PC version and follow the same schedule that the PlayStation version did. So like you won't get access to this summer event right off the bat in the PC version. You're going to have to wait till they release it for the PC, which sucks.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Starting over.
But it might be kind of fun to start over. Maybe you start over with a different weapon. maybe you start over with just a completely different weapon that you weren't really using before.
No, it's hammer
Yeah.
time all the time.
Actually, I want to make a hammer build. I did it against the giant. Oh, it was for the Street Fighter mission.
Uh-huh.
I used a hammer against that guy, and it was very fun just running down the hill and spinning around.
Yeah. There's a technique to it, and the technique is have maximum fun all the time.
I'm starting to subscribe to your version of playing video games more and more, Briar.
What's that?
Just fuck it, like maximum fun, you know.
Oh.
Blowing
I'm
up
gonna be
people's
playing
shit.
Hitman this week. If you have never played Hitman, Pope, we should get together and play. Like
I've never played it.
We could take turns or something. We could figure out a way. It's a single player game, but like
Sure.
it is the most fuck it kind of game you've ever played in your life. You go in. This is the version that came out in 2016, and there's a new one that's coming out like later this year, like Hitman 2. Like you go in with a mission, you've got to kill like a couple of targets in a mission, and it's like this kind of contained world, but there's like thousands of NPCs walking around. There's all these
Sure.
like devices and mechanisms that you can use to you can drop chandeliers on people, or you can rig bombs to explode, and there's all sorts of weird stuff you could do.
You can steal ladies' dresses and dress up as them.
That's right. You can dress up as Helmut Kohl, like the biggest rock star, and like walk around and everybody's like admiring you. And the sandbox is super fun too, because like everything that you can pick up is basically a weapon. Whether it's you can overhead throw axes at people, you can you be stealthy assassin with a silenced pistol, or you can bash people's brains in with a fire putter outer thing that's red and
Extinguisher.
Thank you.
Fire poker?
Fire extinguisher.
That sounds like something I would say. A fire putter outer singing fire putter outer.
So you make this like amazing plan to, here's how I'm gonna assassinate this dude. Halfway through, it all goes to shit, and you start running around with your head cut off, trying to knock people out to take their clothes so you can hide. It's just a ridiculous game, and it's a lot of fun.
I need to play another one. I played it a very, very, very long time ago. I don't remember which one it was. Might have been the original.
This
I
new
haven't
one
played
is
it since.
very good.
It'd be fun to watch you stream it, Briar. Like, I don't know if I'd like to watch somebody play it before I jump into a game like that. I feel like stealth. I never ever end up playing stealth missions stealthy. I just, the ones that just they you could play a couple different ways.
Yeah.
I always end up killing everything. It's something about me. Like I'll get frustrated about it, and I'll be like, nah, I'm just gonna shoot everything. So it'd be fun to watch somebody play it and see if I can get into that. But the idea of making a bunch of different ways of like bunch of different weapons out of anything, that sounds like fun.
It is. It's crazy fun. There's one where there's like you're on a movie set, and they're like filming like this. It's kind of like Iron Man versus Godzilla scene, and you rig the Godzilla mouth to actually eat the dude.
No, really?
It's really
That's
funny.
amazing.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's really good. And
that actually sounds like fun.
they had the most interesting development story. I think this might have been in Jason Schreier's book. I might be wrong. I might know this through some other means, but they were owned by Square, the guys who developed this game, and Square let them go. Even though the game was popular, they just, I don't know why they let them go, but they allowed them to keep the IP and the game. So they're same people are developing this game, but they're out on their own now developing Hitman 2. It's a really interesting story.
Oh, interesting.
Almost like how, Bungie left Microsoft. But imagine if Microsoft had allowed them to keep Halo,
Oh, wow. The IP,
Interesting.
if they allowed them to keep the IP of that would be an open world Halo game.
I mean, isn't that what we're
Imagine
playing?
Destiny a little bit, but imagine Destiny lore or Halo lore set in Destiny world, and all the places that we had been to in the Halo universe, and we're members of, the Spartans instead of what we are. I mean, they're just thematically, like the concept. I think that's amazing. That if this world had been in a different way, and they were able to take Halo into the open world, man, that would have been.
It's funny. The three of us all got sucked up by Destiny really hard.
Yes.
Mhm.
What's the game that you missed because you were too busy playing Destiny that you can't wait to go back to, or you wish you had time to go back to?
Ooh,
Wow.
go back to.
Yeah,
So
like a game that came
I
out.
played the opening missions of Breath of the Wild and where you got off the plateau and you went down below and you got into the first you know, puzzle,
Mhm.
and then I just stopped playing.
Oh.
I was just playing Destiny. So I'd love to go back and finish Breath of the Wild.
That was, when was that? Was that last year? That was during Destiny 1 still?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I still haven't finished that. I still haven't finished Witcher. I still haven't
Oh, God.
finished
That's the best game ever made.
Fallout. I start 1,000 games and I never finish them because
Yeah.
I play Destiny.
I hear
Like,
Yeah.
I can list 1,000, like a bunch of different games. Every game that has come out, I buy it. I start playing it. I never finish it.
Yeah, and you're a family man, so like your time to play video games is limited, you know?
You're also a family man, Briar.
Yeah, but my main job is playing video games.
You know, that's a good point. That is
so
a good
that
point.
frees me up a little bit. How about you, Watts? Is there any games that you kind of missed out on?
So I didn't actually end up finishing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh,
I was like almost at the end, and then I just didn't finish it.
You're gonna have to replay it.
See, that's the thing. This is what stops me from finishing the games that I start, because they're mostly story games, and then I don't know what the hell is going on. So I'm like, I gotta start all over again. And then I stop playing halfway through again, and I gotta do it again.
Wikipedia can solve that problem for you. Just read the first 3 paragraphs out of the 4 paragraphs.
Watts, if you ever want to play the DLC, just let me know. You can borrow my account. The expansion is fun.
Yeah, I've heard
the
it's
whole
pretty
thing
good.
is fun.
Yeah, it's a really good game. The AI of the robots, Tomo always talked about and is like, they're amazing. So it's really interesting playing other games besides Destiny where Tomo's playing them. Because you get to get this really cool insight on the combatants that they have in their game. And just hearing how amazing Horizon Zero Dawn's combatants are.
They are
Just
amazing.
all the time, just like, this is amazing. I don't even know how they did this. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that game was amazing. I barely finished that one, I think. Like, I barely got through it. I didn't actually like that game as much as everybody else did, though.
You didn't like it?
I liked it. I liked the main story, but I couldn't care less about most of the characters in that game. Like the side quest stuff, I did just to get through. But like the main story, I thought was fascinating.
Yeah.
But like the cursory stuff, I just couldn't care less about. Like none of those characters were interesting at all.
Interesting. Yeah, I that's probably one of the games that I've gotten closest to completing. I haven't done. I don't think I've done anything 100% in video games except for Destiny stuff.
The Switch has actually helped me with that because the Switch is because it's a portable system.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't compete for the same time that I spend at my main gaming setup. Right? It's like I was playing the Switch on the plane down to Florida. I'll play the Switch if me and my wife are watching a movie and it's boring. I'll pick up the Switch and just start, like doing that,
Does she get mad at you? Does she say, Briar, this is movie, me
no,
and you
she's
romantic
just as bad as I
time.
do. She'll just walk away halfway through a movie.
If the movie's done, she's just not even
I'm
done.
out.
I'm out. Yeah.
That's funny. I'm really looking forward to Dark Souls coming on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's gonna be place. Man, if that is not a perfect plane game, I would just sink so much time into Dark Souls on the Switch.
the amount of plane arrest due to erratic behavior is about to skyrocket.
It's like, God damn it! Hostess comes over. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to ask you, but you don't understand. The boss is like that.
They're gonna have like Dark Souls kits. Like here's a shot of scotch, and we're gonna have to take your Switch away, sir.
The Switch is a really amazing console.
Yeah.
Nintendo really
And
I
now they're
mean,
allowing other games on it. It's just
yeah.
making it crazy.
Yeah.
And the partnership, how open they are to partner with other companies is that's not a typical Nintendo
Oh no.
No.
style, is it?
Well, they have
No.
new leadership as of what 4 years ago, 5 years ago when Iwata passed away. He was like the leader there, and now they're under new management. So maybe that means they're gonna change some of their ways. I mean, they let Ubisoft create a Mario game, Mario versus Rabbits, like that
That's right.
turn-based strategy game.
That's crazy.
That was crazy.
To let them touch Mario.
Yeah,
To let
and
somebody
let them
else touch
use a
Mario?
gun.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just think that Nintendo is they're positioning themselves to just blow up. And I mean, Fortnite being on the Switch and their partnerships with Microsoft and Xbox, right? So making those connections, they're putting themselves in a really great position because nobody has that mobile gaming market like they do right now.
Yeah, Hollow Knight, it came out last year for everything else. And it came out just recently for Switch, and I feel like it's gotten much more press because it's on the Switch and it's it's such a easily mobile game,
Yeah.
beats
Yep.
itself well to it. And the Switch is so powerful considering how small it is. Really, it's
Yeah,
a cool thing.
I'm always surprised every time I see a game that's coming out on the Switch. I'm like, you're putting that on the Switch? That works? Are you sure? I really want a Pokemon Stadium on the Switch. Pokemon
Okay.
Stadium.
Okay.
Played it on
would
the,
that
what
look
was
like?
it, N64? I think.
Was that N64? Holy
Was
cow.
it N64?
I think you're right.
I don't know.
It was either
Yeah,
that or GameCube. I think you're right, though. I think it was N64.
Yeah, I think it was N64. And the really cool thing about Pokemon Stadium, so people always talk crap to me about liking Pokemon Stadium, but what was really cool about it is you could take your Pokemon from your Game Boy and import them into your Stadium game. So you got to see them in like 3D, full color. Like it was amazing. I was like, oh, there's my babies fighting in 3D.
All right,
It's very
so
exciting.
I keep going back to this. Vicarious Vision did some work on Skylanders and
Mhm.
made some of the Skylanders games. I forget which
Like
ones they did.
the toys to game one.
So Skylanders is a game that by concept blew my mind. Like my son was really into them. They had the little toy figurines, right?
So we have many of them too.
inside the base of the toy was a chip that recorded all the effort or all the time and stats of that doll, that character, and you could take that character with you to a friend's house and put it on their platform and it would be teleported into the game with all its stats and everything, and you could build up these characters, and the DLCs were handled that way too. There were these little shapes of figures that you would buy and then you just place it on the platform and then you would have that DLC.
Oh man, that's cool.
They had in-game things like little hourglasses that you could only use once per level per save, as a playthrough, and otherwise it would get timed out. So you would have these little things that you bought and you place it on the platform and it would stop time or slow down time. They had shields and potions and stuff that you could put down on the platform. The concept of Skylanders and the implementation of it was phenomenal. Like if somebody could do that for for like an adult game, like think about
Nintendo's doing it with their amiibos.
So that's another example, and I don't know enough about them to know how far they've gone to it, but like if they could make something like that for, I was thinking of Final Fantasy, where all these characters that you have in game, you could have the little doll portion of it. Is that what the amiibos are?
It depends on the game that you're doing. Like in Zelda, you could use an amiibo and it would drop you a chest that could have, special armor in it.
Yeah, no, this was like, so Briar, then they had this thing called Swap Force, where the top portion and the bottom portion of a character were different stats, and were like they had different abilities, and you could swap them out and make your own characters. So you could take the top from a character that's like based off of a pirate.
You're genetically mutating these monsters.
Right.
Oh
and
my
so
god,
you
this
could,
sounds
you could
horrifying.
swap force, you could put together these characters and put them into the game, and they would have the unique abilities of the character. So what I'm thinking about is a game like Destiny or something like that, where not necessarily Destiny, but like where you have different characters that you could then upgrade and create them and save them and have them be able to be pulled in and out of the game seamlessly. Super easy to do. It was a fun.
How much money would it cost you if you could buy armor at Toys R Us? Well, you can't buy anything at Toys R Us. What if you could buy armor at Walmart and then like put it on your Destiny character?
Oh man,
in the game. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Do you remember?
boy.
Pope, you might be old enough to remember this. Do you remember Captain Power?
Captain Power.
I think that's the name of it. It was a TV show that came on Saturday mornings. And if you went, you could go to the toy store and buy these ships that were spaceships, but they also were guns, and you could point them at the screen during the TV show.
No.
Yeah, so, and you could. It was almost like playing laser tag with the TV show. So like at certain points of the TV show, like there'd be a ship to ship battle, and it'd be almost like certain lights would flash on the screen, and if your toy you were holding in your hand got hit by that, it would register on the toy, and then if you shot at the right time, it would register as well.
Wow.
That sounds amazing.
But they
That's
got in a
so cool.
shit ton of trouble because essentially they were saying that the government was saying that the TV show was basically just advertising for this fucking toy.
I mean,
and that's what the Toys to Life stuff like Skylanders and Amiibo kind of. I wonder if they're going to get in trouble for this. Is the video game just advertising for the toy at this point?
I can tell you as a parent who had a child who's very much into Skylanders, I spent a small fortune on them.
They weren't cheap, right?
They were about $15 each, and the DLCs were about 30. And we probably have 80 of them, maybe.
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie though. I liked when my kids were playing it because it was just easy gift. It was it was like Pandora bracelets. Like this is an easy one I can just knock off the list.
Yeah,
right?
think about it. Like as a parent, you show up with a new Skylander. It's $15. Your kid's like ecstatic.
Right.
I spent a lot of money on Skylanders, and I still have them. My wife wanted to put them out for a yard sale, and I kind of bought into it a little bit. I was like, yeah, let's put these out for a yard sale. I got all the way out there to put them out like on the front yard, and I just couldn't handle it. I was like, no, there's so much saved on those characters. I'm never gonna play the game again. My son and I, but you don't understand. We've ranked up all those guys. There's a lot of time on them.
Yeah.
No, we can't sell them.
No,
so I pulled
absolutely
them back in the house, and I put them. I have a big bin of them, and I just can't get rid of them.
Yeah, we got a big bin of them too. My kids have aged out of it, so they're not interested. I don't even think they make Skylanders anymore, do they?
Yeah, they have new ones that are they did one for like it has vehicles.
Oh, really? So they're still making new Skylanders?
I think so.
Because there was a bunch of them that came out around the same time, right? There's like a Lego one. There was Amiibos are still around. I think there was a bunch of them that kind of came out at the same time. Like Skylanders was a huge hit, so a bunch of companies tried to jump on that bandwagon. I think they saturated the market.
There's a Skylanders Ring of Hope. The beta goes live on Android, so maybe they're doing a mobile version of it.
Oh, interesting.
On the phones.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I can tell you that
Disney Infinity.
Yeah, Disney Infinity tried to basically compete with Skylanders. I think the Skylanders already had the market by then. I didn't.
Disney Infinity, the game was different, right? It was more of like an open world, like creative thing.
Yeah, but the same concept though. You built the characters, and you could buy all the characters.
Yeah.
My son never really got into it. He played it a little bit, but it just kept coming back to Skylanders. That I could see somebody making an adult version of it, and just all these Funko Pop people.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if your Funko Pop did something.
I've been trying to get a Funko Pop of Atheon forever to put inside my PC. I want my PC to be the vaulted glass, and I want Atheon sitting in the middle of it.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
I have not been able to find one.
Atheon.
but
Isn't
imagine-
it Crota who is super expensive?
Is it?
I think it's Crota. Yeah, pretty sure Crota sells for a crap ton. It was like very limited amounts of Crota.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Well-
willing to spend more than $11 on this.
$11.
It's interesting to see where games are going. When we look at somehow buying something in person, for me as a buying a Skylander and having a toy in hand didn't bother me like buying an in-game skin would. It's interesting, right?
Oh, it's a physical product as opposed to a digital one. Do you guys buy
Yeah,
your
but-
games digitally, or do you buy physical copies?
I buy digital.
Everything's digital.
I don't have room in my house for physical. Like I don't want this shit hanging around.
Yeah.
Plus
I do.
those midnight releases, you know. I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
wanna
good
go
point.
to the
Oh,
store and get it. I
Jesus.
want to be sitting at my console or a PC and have it ready to go.
And ever
So
since they
what if
allowed
they
you
do
to
a-
pre or download it for the digital releases, that's really sold it on to me.
What about with Destiny when they do like the pack-in physical releases, like Hawthorne's purse?
Then I end up buying 2 versions.
2 versions. Guilty.
Yep.
You know,
Every time.
I've never really been one to be drawn in by the collector's editions. If it's in game, like digital, like if it's in game stuff like a gun or skin or something like that, I buy the digital collector's edition or whatever,
Yeah.
but I never buy the physical edition.
No?
The you know, what was it, the backpack that you got or
Mhm.
the different things, none of that
Yeah,
stuff really.
The
excited
solar
me.
charger for your cell phone.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Who
There's
uses
actually
that?
a great story that somebody remember there was a big hurricane in Florida right when Destiny 2 came out.
Hmm.
Somebody was posted on Reddit how that thing basically saved his life because he had bought the Destiny 2 collector's edition that came with that solar charger for your cell phone, and he was in Florida during that hurricane. He lost power, and he was able to charge his cell phone up and stay in communication with it.
Oh wow,
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
that's a great
Wow.
story.
I don't think the Witcher 3 statue I have is going to serve the same purpose.
We just got back. I feel like I'm finally getting myself, back in
Back on
sorts
schedule?
from Guardian Con and being over in Florida. I start work on Monday, so I'll be back to the grind of that. But so I'm in my last few days of vacation. But I still look back at. I'm looking back and thinking fondly of Guardian Con and getting a chance to check out Warframe and the community that they had there was really cool. Did you guys any other games besides Destiny? Did you get a chance to check out or anything from Guardian Con that stood out to you?
No.
The main thing, I mean, we talked a lot on Thursday about the experience of meeting the community and like how awesome it is to
Right.
actually just stand there and the actual event, even though it was at a much nicer place, it didn't go very smoothly for me. My experience of Guardian Con this year was rough. The
Yeah.
actual behind the scenes event stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Saturday we basically starved to death because we couldn't find any food. Right, we couldn't bring food into the convention center. There's no food available that I could find. I think at some point there was food at the VIP table, but it was gone before I heard about it. And then there's a 2-hour
Yeah, I
line.
heard whispers of sandwiches.
And then there's a 2-hour line at the concession stand. So we couldn't go over there.
And
Like,
then
yeah.
if you wanted to go out, and even if they let you bring food in, which they weren't letting you do that, you had to go out and go back through security.
Right.
So if you are a content creator at Guardian Con and you have things that you have to do, everyone knows going from one spot to another, you want to stop and say hi to everyone. But then
Right.
also you have to go through security and you have to get back into the convention hall. So if you have any kind of commitments at Guardian Con, you can't really leave.
Right. On Friday, that's what happened to us on Friday mornings. There was a coffee shop literally 5 minutes away, a 5-minute walking distance away. But it took us 45 minutes to get back in because you couldn't just walk in the place you left, and the VIP badges meant nothing to security
Yep.
So you had to go and stand in that long ass line. So finally we decided, well, we knew there was a loading dock, so we went like on foot searching for this loading dock. It ended up taking us 45 minutes to get back in.
Yeah.
And like just for coffee. We just wanted coffee.
I know. Yep.
And then like we did the podcast, and before hour and a half before we even started that podcast, people were coming up to me and saying, we can't get in the podcast. We can't get in.
There's a huge line. And
Yeah.
I feel like there was a time to deal with that, and that we didn't really have time to, the options in front of us. We didn't really have time to select another venue and still have it available for recording and live. So keeping it where we were.
Next year we'll do it at the sale on a cell phone. The sale is the bar across the street.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was great to have our fans there. It was unfortunate that not everybody got a chance to be with us there. It was a very small, intimate space, but we could have had a much larger amount of people there watching.
Touchy's family couldn't even get it.
Yeah. I know my wife and baby ended up sitting on the floor in the alleyway in the aisle so they could come in.
Yeah, it was a shame. I saw so many people saying, "Yeah, they're already turning people away," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
It makes me, although it's not something we can control, it makes me feel very bad when there's people who are there who really want to see the show live and they can't, because there was hardly anyone that was able to see it live. Like, it was a very small room. It was very small.
Yeah, it was like the size of a pedo van or something. Very tiny.
I don't know the size of it.
I've seen that mustache, Pope. Don't lie to me.
I tried to, I put a big spin on, made the best out of it, but it was definitely difficult to see a bunch of Destiny content creators not having a home, not having a place to they were denied meet and greets or places to meet with their fans. And so it was difficult to hear that and to see that in place, especially since the roots of the show were based off of content creators.
And it was $13,000 to get internet access. I just saw in chat, why didn't you guys live stream from the booth this year? That's why. $13,000.
That's
it was
why.
really expensive.
Very expensive.
There was, we just couldn't do it. I just couldn't afford it. But yeah, we wanted to set up some cool stuff for you guys, but it just was tough.
I think next year, we'll have other plans, and we'll make sure that we're prepared for patients.
Right.
Yeah, I think we have to, as a group, we have to make our own plans for stuff rather than having them create spaces for us to meet people and creating the space for us to do our live podcast. Like, we have to be really involved with, well, is this going to be big enough for the amount of people that are there to see us? Is there going to be places for us to meet fans and it's not going to be dangerous? And is there going to be food that not only we have access to, but, everyone else there, they also have to wait in that long line to get food as well. I want everyone, creator and fan, to just have a good time, be well nourished, and that's it.
Yeah.
This is what I want.
I gotta say though that the meetup that location was perfect. Like, that was,
it was just fantastic.
It was big enough to fit a ton of people. There was seating, so if you wanted to eat, you could get something to eat. There was outdoors, indoors. It was really nice.
We filled up that whole upper floor of that place. Yeah, we slammed it. It was fun. It was good times.
If we do the same place next year, might want to try and get the whole place.
I agree. And then we could tell them to turn down the music a little bit so I can stay inside and not sweat.
There was, with the amount of beer I was drinking, I was sweating no matter where I was.
Well, I think we're looking forward to just talk about what is coming up. I think we're looking forward to having a regular schedule. Thursdays is Destiny. Saturdays is All Games podcast. Getting to connect with you guys. We're gonna have Holtz and Tefty and the whole crew on every Saturday at 1:00. So just start. That was a huge request. The timing was a huge request from our European audience of just getting a chance to see us live. And so that's the 1 o'clock to the timing of the 1 o'clock on Saturdays. So we're going to build an audience here with this. We have a structured format, an unstructured format as usual, but we're going to be going into other games, and similar to the conversation today, I'll be bringing in relevant guests. If it's not going to be a new guest every week, but like, for example, Bodies was somebody that we wanted to speak with because it was timely. And if something's going on, I'll try to pull them on as a guest and talk to them. Maybe as new games are coming out, we'll get developers from those new games to come on and talk to us, and we'll see how this thing builds. But we really want to know your feedback. So if you guys are listening to this on iTunes, just make sure to comment and rate this thing. We want to definitely build it up, and it's a new podcast. It starts off with a new audience, and we're hoping to be welcoming to people that play other games and don't necessarily know us from Destiny. So we really appreciate you guys being here and doing the crossover.
The founders. You guys are the founders.
Hopefully it's exciting for you guys. And thank you.
Like you're trying to sell me something, what?
You're the founders pack.
Buy the founders pack.
Buy the founders. It's only $99.
It's only $99 to be a founder of the SideQuest.
That's $140 savings.
And just also, we are doing that. A lot of people asked us about t-shirts. They weren't able to buy a t-shirt at Guardian Con, and so we are going to be doing a limited edition release for our patrons only. So it's a really t-shirts are very expensive to make, and you don't really make anything from them. So we're going to do is I'm going to be ordering them and shipping them to my house, and then personally packaging them and shipping them out to you. So we are going to be doing a limited run for our patrons. So if you sign up to our patron page, if you sign up to be a patron, I think it's the $5 amount or greater, you can you'll be eligible to get a t-shirt for from the podcast. So that will be starting this month. So sign up as soon as you can, or bump up from that $2 to $5, and that will help us to be able to get that that ball rolling. And I will send you a t-shirt in the mail, and I'm doing those at cost. So we're not going to be doing those for profit. Whatever it costs me to make them, I will turn around and send them out to you. So, but yeah, you guys, is there anything else we really want to talk about?
I think we're at what, an hour 30?
Mm-hmm.
So we're at.
Yeah.
That's about where the side quests are, right? They're side quests. They're not main quests.
Yeah. Sometimes the side.
I feel like we
quests-
talked about too much Destiny.
Well, we kind of did. I mean, we didn't talk about the Black Hammer, did we?
Well, we don't talk about the Black Hammer. Oh, you mean the Whisper?
Yeah, the Whisper.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I mean, we didn't talk about it, did we?
No, we didn't. All right, I think that's gonna do it, guys.
Ah. All right. You want to do the sign off prayer, or do we do this?
Do we even need sign offs? We're just some nerds on the internet.
That's right.
Doing our side quests and not our main quest.
Yeah, just make sure to follow us, the podcast, on at DCP_live. We do a couple podcasts a week, and just a bunch of goofy nerds that get together.
Yeah, the YouTube channel is the same, right? It's DCP_live as well on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Twitch and
Twitter, Instagram.
Insta who?
We don't have a Snapchat.
The videos that you guys are making. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on Thursday.
Tomorrow. Actually.
Oh yeah, tomorrow we're getting together to do some fun stuff.
A video game.
Yeah.
We're doing a video game. Can we tell people?
Sure. Right?
Yeah, we're gonna mess around with some
Destiny. We don't know what
Destiny
time
first.
yet.
Yeah, we have no idea what time. We'll announce that on Twitter.
Yeah, but tomorrow we are going to be playing video games together as a DCP crew. It's going to be really fun. So you can check us out on any of the channels. Popo, you streaming from the DCP channel?
I can. No, I
Yes.
can't. No, somebody else is going to.
Okay.
Or I don't think we are then.
Ooh.
Well, you can find us on our
Sorry.
Twitch channel.
Yes. No. Yes. I'll try. I'll try to stream from the DCP channel. I don't know if my computer is set up for it.
Okay.
All right, guys.
It's probably fine. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for some fun games, and we'll see you on Thursday for the regular DCP podcast. Oh, and next
Yay.
week, Pat will be on. Holtzman will be on.
Yeah.
Yay.
We'll have our full complement.
We will.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Or good day.
Do we raid
good
somebody
evening.
or no?
Yeah, let's do that. Do it.
All right. Who do we want? Do you want to raid a Destiny person?
Do it. We're in the Destiny directory for some reason.
We're gonna raid. We're gonna raid somebody.
Who are we raiding?
/ Is it / raid?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's /raid.
/.
You don't have to say forward. It's just the slash.
But what if I'm backslashing raid?
That's called the backslash.
Wait. I don't get it.
Hmm.
All right, we're gonna go to Lucky and Buttwipe.
Yay. Are they doing trials?
I think they're doing
they
the
spindle carrying?
they're black spindling. They're whispering.
Spindling. They're whispering.
They're
Putting the
spindle
black hammer
carrying?
down, laying it
The
on
hammer.
the table.
They're putting the hammer down. Yeah.
Oh
Bye.
my god.